beautiful space to be around, and we try to clean up the land and focus a lot of our efforts on maintaining some of the alternate systems that we have as examples and as works in progress. And we host a lot of events and bonfires and times where people can just come together and relax or do work. We have lots of work parties too, but especially just a place of solitude and safety and refuge.
So there is this developer, his name is Ishan,
Get out of my property.
who bought this lot that's adjacent to the lot that we garden on here. We don't own this lot. It belongs to Miss Ruby, who lives across the creek. She's given us her blessing in the past to be here and be gardening. So he's a developer. He intends to profit from this space. So when this gentleman bought the property adjacent, he started harassing us, saying that we need to move everything and get out of his way because he's going to come through, level the land. He has expressed his intention to do this in very aggressive terms, telling us that we need to change our lives, change what we're doing, that he's coming through.
Yeah, record all this shit because enough is enough. Bunch of freaking low-class kids.
He's been coming by for the past year and being really aggressive, harassing us, etc. And today he actually brought a bulldozer and bulldozed through the easement, came onto Miss Ruby's property without her permission, tore up the entire garden, fish pond, garden beds. So that's where we are now, is assessing the damage and deciding what we can do next.
Oh, we're trying to save the fish. The like 6 or 7-year-old goldfish that have lived around here that we built this pond for, that he demolished.
They were a part of the original aquaponics system.
What was there?
Our garden, we're feeding ourselves off of this land. We had an agreement with our neighbor that we could use her land to feed ourselves.
I know.
So why have you decided to destroy this garden here?
All right, to destroy the garden or whatever.
So why have you decided
Enough.
to destroy this land?
Because!
What's the reason for destroying the garden here?
To sell a piece of property so that somebody can build a house.
Park right.
Developers in general are in Atlanta right now, in particular, coming in and usually don't live in the neighborhood and are extractive of the resources that have been put into the neighborhoods. We see that over and over again. That's the process of gentrification that is so intense in Atlanta right now. And what this has done is really showed that we are the wealth in the community, that we generate abundance, that we have been providing food for people, workshops for people, safe space for people, like nature for people in the city. And the amount of people who have showed up in support of that has been profound. This developer is going to come in and try to make a little bit of money off of an extremely extractive process, and that's a kind of wealth generation that pales compared to the abundance that's created when we are invested in community.
The police going to be here soon. The police going to be here soon. I'm going to file charges against you and every one of them down here.
Why do you think you need the police?
We're going to get them.
There were 2 officers who unfortunately were not able to help us, or chose not to help us. He told them that he had Miss Ruby's permission to destroy this lot. It turned out that that wasn't true. We asked the police officers to come with us and actually speak to Miss Ruby, which they did not think to do on their own. And she said, no, I don't want him to bulldoze the lot. At that point, we asked, does that mean that this is criminal trespass and can you actually remove him from the property? And they said, no, it's still a civil situation. We can't take action. We can only be here to make sure that nobody gets hurt. So in fact, what they were doing in the name of making sure no one gets hurt is threatening to arrest some of the folks that live here at the Homostead who were expressing their anguish to this man. The police found that to be unacceptable, even as this man was trespassing and destroying our garden. They generally treat us with what feels like disdain. I think it has to do with the giant mural that says "Welcome to the Homostead." I think it has to do with their perception of folks' gender identity, sexual identity. I think it has to do with, they said to us today, this would have been a lot easier if you had a single spokesperson, if you had one person speaking for everybody else. They don't like the fact that we are a collective and that they have to respond to all of our questions and talk to each of us. So yeah, there's many things I think that make them have a preconceived notion of who is right in this situation.
If you're here to work, just work, do what you gotta do, and get out of here.
Absolutely, yep.
That's it. Don't worry about them, don't let them distract you with your work.
It's affected us, I think, emotionally and mentally in terms of actually feeling a threat of violence for one thing, because Ishan has acted really aggressively towards folks.
Freaking harassed me.
Why do you feel harassed?
Yeah, I'm being harassed right now.
Why do you
I'm
feel
being
harassed?
What? Doesn't this look like being harassed?
Don't touch me.
Doesn't look like this being harassed? You mean on my face? You follow me all around? This is harassment. This is harassment.
So there's, for the past year, been this constant, he shows up sometimes he comes at night. I mean, he shows up without any prior warning, so there's always this like fear that maybe we'll have to deal with him today, and who knows what, if he'll be threatening. So that's been very stressful. The effect of this physical damage, this is years of work that people have put into this land. Folks eat from this garden, folks come here on a weekly basis to see each other, share space. There's been a community built around this space, and that's not going to change because they dug up the land. In fact, it's going to strengthen our community because we're going to come together to restore it. But it is an attack on a community that has been built around this space.
We're not the only people that are affected by gentrification in the city, and we're definitely not the first or the last. So I think that forming solidarity with folks is a great idea. Making sure we don't lose contact, making sure we're constantly supporting each other's, keeping our neighborhoods together is important.